Hello. Hi, Hemant. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, so hello everyone. This is Convince Me to Read the Book series. And today we are with Hemant Joshi and we will be talking about his book, The Basement. But first of all, so Hemant describes himself as an introvert and someone with very few words, which we can see. So, yeah, please tell us how someone who has so less few words to speak is coming up with such a nice book.
Okay, so there is a common story that introverts write books. Not everybody has seen extroverts writing books, so that's a very common story. And I have written this book. I published this when I was 21, and it's been 3 years, I guess, since the publication. And yes, I had a lot of stories to tell people, and this is why I compiled this book. This book has a lot of stories inside this story.
Stories inside a story.
Multiple stories inside this one story.
So, The Basement is about something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's one story. That's one story, but you will see multiple perspectives, multiple short stories inside it, multiple views on multiple things.
Okay, that is really nice. So, as I said, you coming up with all of these words. So, how do you make the spaces for you, right? The way you described about your book that when you are into writing, that when you just said that it's about stories into stories, and it's just that you it's like you speak very less, but anyway, you have made a space for you that is where you can just express whatever you feel like and whatever you say. So, is the basement is something like that? Is it what is this your book's describing?
Okay, so see, there are a lot of stories people haven't heard. Okay, there are a lot of things people still don't know about, but it's based on a very simple topic. It's based on a very simple thought that see what we look at the world, how we look at the world is keeping our perspective and see things the way it happens. But it's not just it. You see, uh, living isn't just about looking from your perspective. It's more about how other people see things as well. Let's say you take a situation. Okay, you see it from your perspective, but if you can see it from different perspectives as well. See, you have given a situation. Okay, and you have three options, let's say, and you are going to choose one. So it's not that the other people will choose the same option as well. Okay, it's a very simple example to this is, let's say you find a bag with 5 crore rupees in that. So not everybody will pick that up. Okay, you think that you say it's your perspective that you will pick that up and you will spend. Okay, you will buy this, buy that. Okay, but it's not the same with everyone. Okay, so this is the same in this story that the main character, the protagonist, David, his name. So he finds something so valuable that he can live his life. Okay, he can walk away from vegetation and live his life in, you know, full affluence, but he doesn't do it. Okay, so this is about it. A different perspective. Somebody choose something different. You choose something different.
That sounds very deep and interesting. So, how long have you been writing, or how long did it take to write this book?
So it took me around 1 year to write this book, and currently I'm writing my second book, which has been ongoing since for last 3 years, I guess. Just I started it just after the completion of this book, just after publication, and I'm trying to write it. It would be at home, as I think. So yeah.
Yeah, that's It's really great. Like the journey is what is important and all that. The way you're describing how it took 1 year and all. So, and how would you like if someone came to you for advice? Like, I am like this, and I want to write, or I want to do some things like this. Or so, what would you advise someone who is very shy and not at all like outspoken? How would you advise them to just go for it and do something that you love or something?
Okay, so writing a book is not very related to, you know, being an extrovert. Okay, so you can go for it, but see, somebody said, I don't know the name, somebody said that, but that if you want to write, just start from now. Okay, don't wait for perfection. I don't know the name actually, but somebody said this, that don't wait for perfection. Don't wait that I'll write someday and I'll write this or that. I'm waiting for the perfect story, waiting for the perfect narration. Don't just wait for it. Go right now. Start writing. Okay. So this was my first attempt. This was my first book. And see, as I told you, I was 21 years old when I published this book. I started this when I was 20. So if I could have waited it for like 5 more years, I wouldn't be able to write this. So you just have to start from now. Just start doing it.
Once you
You'll
start,
edit
you
this. You'll
will.
edit this.
Uh,
Yeah,
Once you start, you will find some way or another to publish or to express the book. To you will find someone. The universe will do some things to get you to where you want to go. Right?
exactly, exactly. Starting is important. Starting is always important.
Yeah, so those are the things that we all like, we all inspire and wish to do, right? And it's very nice to feel that there is someone out there who is listening. And also, this series is something like that only. And yeah, this that is why we ask these questions to our authors. And yeah, I'm so glad that you're here and we're talking about all these things. So, if again about, coming back to your book the basement, there you said that the in the description it was like something, the book is about a mansion with a lot of valuables and stuff like that. So could you just without spoiling too much of the story tell us a little bit about the story?
Yeah, so this is about a protagonist. His name is David, and Uh, he start living in forest at the age of 14. He decides to live in solitude because he was. I don't know what was in his mind, but some people are like this from childhood that they don't want to cope up with the society that much. So he wanted to live. He wanted to start living on his own since he's an orphan in this story, our main character. And then he finds one old man who has the same seems like who has the same characteristics our main protagonist has. So he finds the person, and you know the other person, the our second main character, he has a lot of experience with his life. He is around 55 years old, and so he teaches him things. Okay, it's not that he teaches him things directly, but he teaches him things indirectly, and he spends time with him after 6 years. So he lives around 6 years in solitude in the forest. Okay, and then he goes out. And also, since we are human, it's our tendency to getting bored of something. So he gets bored of solitude as well. It's not that some people like solitude. Some people say that we'll live in solitude for our entire life, but this doesn't happen to everyone. Not every living in solitude needs patience. Okay, but he loses his patience after 6 years, and then he chooses to, be social. He chooses to not that social, like being going to parties and you know going to a big segregation. Okay, it's not that, but he chooses to live with people, and then he meets this second character. His name is Chandrasekhar. So he meets the second character, and some things happen when he meets him. So this is about.
So to know those some things that happen, we'll have to read the
Yeah,
book,
you
right?
must. Yes, you must.
Yeah, of course. We do not want to spoil too much because we are very much looking forward to actually read the book, The Basement. And as you said that this is your first book, right?
Yeah.
And you are also looking to write more such books or different?
See, my favorite book genre is philosophy fiction. Okay, I read fiction as well. I read a lot of fiction, and so I'm looking forward to writing in the same segment. Okay, but I have multiple stories. So stories may differ, but the genre will be the same. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And I also had one question that since you mentioned fiction, I remember that you said that this book is like very different than something common you read. And when asked about the genre as well in our live teaser yesterday, so how do you say that this book is different? Like, what is something that is making you say that this book is not just a fiction or not just a literary fiction, something different?
So our main character, when he meets Chandrasekhar, he gets to know about things he never knew. Okay, he learn things. Okay, not directly, but indirectly he learn things. And see, when it's all about the choices we make. Okay, so he doesn't make the generic choices. When we, let's say we are watching a movie. Okay, so we sometimes predict that the character will do this, will do that. We sometimes predict that. Okay, but in this story you can't predict what is going to happen. Okay, you can't predict what his choices are. He may look simple. Okay, his characteristics may be, may be visible, but he doesn't make the obvious choices. So while writing this book, I had this one thought to describe this book in my mind, that there are 95% things in the world that are obvious. Just remains the 5% things that aren't obvious. Okay, like see, there are situations when 95% of us make the same choice, but there are 5% of them who make different choices. It's all about those 5% who make the different choices. This is,
Making different.
yeah.
So where did you get the inspiration of writing something like that, like making different choices and these 95% and 5% things?
uh, I never had a lot of friends since I was an introvert, so I used to daydream a lot. Okay, and I used to since childhood I used to observe people. So I go to know those 5%. I go to know that category of 5% people who make different choices. So see, observation. I would say observation is the best thing. If you do it, you will get to know about yourself as well as the rest of the world.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting, and that sounds really nice to know the journey and to know how the story was made. And yeah, so uh, again, us coming back to you as an author, how was it like writing this book, or like, was it just that the storyline was just coming to you, or was it hard sometimes, or something like that?
See, writing a book is definitely hard. It's not that you don't just have to write one page. You're writing an entire book. You have to remember what you have just said, okay, and you have to keep going with that. You can't diverse. You can't digress from what you have said and what you are going to say. It's everything needs to be connected. So it's definitely hard to write a book. And see, if you be in time, okay, if you understand yourself, if you understand what you're writing, it's it's a journey. It's a journey always, and it takes time. So writing teaches patience. Writing teaches patience to every. If you are writing one page now, that's enough for you to understand how writing works. Just write one page, just sit, write one page, and just keep the flow, and you will understand how it works. So, and I would say that writing, I don't know if I'm saying this because I'm a writer, but I would say that writing is amazing. Okay, you create something, and you have multiple thoughts in your mind. You are into a different world. What you are writing, you are into that story. So sometimes you get to live multiple lives with it. So before giving it the name, the basement. And this story, I was writing something else before this, and it was titled Thousand Lives. So, which means living multiple lives when we have just one. Okay, we are all living one life, but we have multiple lives. So, this is how it came.
True. It's it's really nice. It's all about trusting the process and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I
can't do
agree.
it. You
Yeah.
can't do it
Totally.
without
And
patience.
sorry.
You can't do it without patience.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, all your words really are making me, and the viewers, go read The Basement right away. So yeah, we are very excited to know more about the book. So definitely, I am convinced that I'm going to read this book. And yeah, it's very nice to have you on the platform and talk about all these things. So once again, thank you for coming, of course, Hemant. And yeah. As I was talking about fiction, right? You were talking about fiction, and then we said that you talked about the thousand lives and all. So, suppose that your next book might, if let's say it comes, will it be on the same genre, or will it be something different? Or are you looking forward to writing more and more in the future?
So, as I talked about the second book I'm writing, uh, it's supposed to be in the genre of crime fiction, but that will include philosophy as well because I'm more interested into philosophy, but people are more interested into fiction. So I'm just combining philosophy, crime, and fiction into one book. And I'm not just, I don't think so that I'm gonna stop with this, the upcoming book. I want to write throughout my life. I want to write multiple books like all the famous authors did. And that's my dream to write the best book of the century. And this could be the second book from my perspective. I don't know will it be a blockbuster or not, but in my perspective, I want to write it like that I'm writing the best book of the century.
Yeah, that's really nice. It's about loving what you do and doing what you love. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so what about writing is the best part for you? As you mentioned your perspective a lot of times. So what about writing is the best part for you?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
What about writing, like being an author and writing books and writing stories or your ideas is what about it is the best part for you? Like
For
writing.
me, for me, see, when you are an extrovert, you you stay with your friends, you party, you travel. Okay, so you get to live most out of your life. But when in writing, when you are writing a story, you get to live it an entirely different life from what you are having. So it's just an escape from the reality. I don't say that reality is bad, but it's an escape. It's a total escape. So it gives you knowledge of it gives you knowledge of different perspectives as well. So when you write a book, you have multiple characters in it. So in the basement, we have around six characters, but that's I would say that's not enough. Having multiple characters, having being writing a book around 600, 700 pages where you will have multiple characters, you get to know them, you get to understand them, and you get to see how other people think. So this makes you a better person as well. Okay, when you put these things in real life, this makes you a better person. This makes you understand that how the other person thinks. So how you can fit into others' shoes and see how things are being seen differently.
To me as well, I can say that reading is something like that, something similar to what you described as an escape, where
Exactly.
writing is. Yeah, so I am going to find my escape in the basement, Hemant Joshi's book, as will everyone. I'm definitely sure that everyone that watching this will do. So yeah, it was very great talking to you, Hemant, and I am definitely convinced that I'm going to go read The Basement right away because the way you're describing it and all the things you're saying about being an author and all, they are very inspiring and they are truly nice to hear because like not everyone can just come out and say that yeah, this is an escape for me or this is something that I do not just as a passion, a hobby, a passion as well. And I'm looking forward to doing more such things because it is difficult. It is difficult when you're doing things by yourself. And yeah, when someone inspires you to do something, I will definitely do it. And yeah, I'll definitely go read The Basement, as
I
will
would,
everyone
I would,
else.
I would like to add one more thing. So when we say escape, people think that the real life is not that good.
Okay.
So we are seeking an escape. But it's not that. You can have a beautiful life, but you still can seek an escape just to see different perspective, just to live another life. For some people, living this life is not enough. They want to explore more. So to explore more, you can read, you can write. Okay, watching movies is one thing as well. So escaping is not a bad thing. Escaping doesn't define that you are living a boring life and it's not enough. So yeah, it's not a bad thing if we say that escape and
Yeah,
do something else. Yeah.
true. That yeah, true. Agreed on everything. That is what I'm saying. Like the way you're saying things, the way you're teaching us all these things, they are very nice and inspiring. So, yep, I'm convinced that I'm going to go grab my copy of The Basement, which you will find the link, which you will find in the link below in the description box. So look into that, and yeah, we will leave Hemant with one last surprise question that we ask every author that come up on this series. So uh, the platform Cafe Pulse has a journal called My Little Book of Affirmation. Now, Hemant, you get to ask me one question about the journal that will convince you to read the journal or grab the copy of the journal.
Uh,
So
okay,
here
so
is
this will
that
be
journal, My Little Book of Affirmation.
okay. So this will be a simple question to you. Like, why do you write?
Sorry,
Why do you write?
why do I write?
Yeah.
Uh, I write to express. I write to remember. I write so that I have a space for myself as well as a space where I can look back to, a space where I can grow from my own mistakes and stuff and things like that, because it's looking at someone else's life, it's not the same when you, because you know yourself more than you know someone else, you know your struggles better. And even if it feels like, okay, I might not be having all that much problems, your problems are your own to deal with, and not everyone has it the same pace. If it's difficult for you, it should be difficult for you, and it's completely fine to accept that it is difficult. So I write so that I can tell myself, I reassure myself, I can affirm myself that it's all right, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I am thinking, and all those things are valid. And I'll keep feeling them and keep improving. That is
So
why I
now,
write.
since you talk to others, are you looking forward to write a book as well?
Me writing a book? I'm not sure. Maybe in the future. I always have been reading. I have been a big fan of reading, but I'm not sure if I ever will write a book. Maybe. I hope so.
Okay, so now since we are into conversation, can you suggest me a good book to read? What's anything your favorite?
Sorry?
Can you suggest me a good book to read?
Suggest you a book. I have been reading this book, Why We Sleep, since the past few days, past few weeks. So I have even just only half read it. So yeah, maybe it is about yourself, like everything about sleep. So if you are into nonfiction, that would really interest you. And if you are into mindfulness, I recommend this book. What was it? Mindfulness in Plain English by Bhante Gunara. So I don't quite can pronounce the name, but it's very nice if you're into mindfulness. And if you like fiction and maybe stuff fantasy, I am also looking to forward to reading this Folk of Air series. So yeah, there are a lot of book recommendations if you ask me, but pick one. Yeah.
I would suggest that you recommend some of the books you like to a reader, to our viewers as well. Because see, recommendations are always good. You go to Google, you search what book you are going to read. So it's difficult. But if somebody recommends you, it's very similar to if somebody recommends you a movie, you gonna definitely watch it. So if you recommend people what to read, so that will help them a lot. So in fiction, I would like to recommend one book. This is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So that's my favorite book, and that's where I got the inspiration to write this book. I would recommend this to our viewers.
Right. So with convince me to read the book series, that is what we are trying to do. Like we are trying to get people to notice that there are a lot of books, there are good literature out there in this generation, or things needs to be people need to read really that it's really
Yes.
nice. I believe that reading is nice and it will really help you in many ways. And so that is what I'm trying to do with this series as well, to recognize the authors, the efforts, and the words. Yeah. Thank you for bringing this up. It was a really nice question. And yeah, we are now convinced that the basement is going to be our next read. So yeah, everyone just grab the copy from the description box below. I will be adding more such stuff in the description, so look forward to it. And this was Hemant Joshi, and this is Nidhi from the Capitals. So we do this live every Saturday. So do come back next Saturday. We'll have another awesome author with us. And we thank you so much, Hemant, for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting. Thank you.
Yeah, now we will leave you with few recommendations that we did. And yeah, that was all. That was thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you next Saturday. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.